Yeah. Please tell me that I can't, that I won't, that I fail, that I'll never make it out, yeah. Please tell me all the bad, never good, fill my head full of every single doubt, yeah. Please say any negative thoughts, I pop off when I hear people say I cannot. I get off to the thought of proving everyone wrong, I won't stop to the top, so you better back off and get lost. I'ma stay loud, stay proud.
YouTube, what's up? Big Lou.
Oh shit. Y'all cut me.
In the house.
Y'all cut me.
I had to get that dance move off, my brother. That's how it works up in here. Hello, everybody in the chat. Lou, what's good?
Cracking.
Bro, how you doing, my brother?
I'm great. Chilling.
Chilling.
Another day above ground.
That's it, man. That's it.
Excited, rejuvenated.
There you go. I try to do that every day, but it ain't working, bro. You can tell by the white hairs. But anyway, let's get some people up in the chat. Lou, you want to do your roll call real quick, bro? The people that are here.
Sir. Yes, sir. All right, everybody. Thanks for tapping into us on this Sunday, beautiful Sunday day. We got some sun out here in the west side. Carmel, Joe De La Mula, excuse me. Pete the Killer, Sven Larson, Palmero, Primo, Edward Everett, Angela, Dinduz, Primo Carlos, Big Lou, Rich DM. We got more people tapping in now.
We got more people. All right,
yeah.
That's good. Well, basically, we're gonna be talking about a friend of mine here. We've been friends for damn bro. How long we know each other, bro? This is what? Was it 110 or 126?
35 years.
Yeah, man. Wow.
126.
126.
About 35 years.
Yeah, 35 years.
Yeah.
Man. Grew up in the same neighborhood, same hood. Had a lot of the same friends. But we brought bro Mel over because he's gonna give you guys a little story and a little history lesson, how I call it, about his life and what he's doing now. And of course, everybody knows that I try to get enough people to help the youth. So I'm gonna have Romel do his thing. You ready to do it, bro?
Absolutely.
Always ready.
Absolutely. I'm always ready. It's a little lag on I guess my end, but I hope everything turns out well. Yeah.
You sound good.
So
you sound good.
Are we into it, or what are we doing?
Yeah, let's get right into the nitty-gritty, bro.
Okay. So are we gonna start with a question, or?
Well, we're gonna start with basically when you were younger, you know, how everything began, you know, as far as you being out in the street and stuff like that, and what it led to.
You said, excuse me, I didn't hear that.
As far as when you started hanging out in the street and stuff, and what it led to, and when you went in.
Oh, okay. So I'm Brooklyn born and raised. I grew up in Farragut Projects. I think after my 10th, maybe my 11th birthday, I moved to Cooper Projects. So the crack epidemic hit early 80s. And I returned back to Farragut Projects and seeing that the epidemic hit that area. So one of my childhood friends was hustling. And I remember he wasn't doing too well prior to him hustling. And he's the first person that showed me a vial and was like, yo, they paid $10 for this. And, you know, back then, we were respectful of our elders. You know, we mind what we said. And I remember vividly him taking a vial, having an adult come. We were sitting on a bench, came over to us. He took the vial. He threw the vial close to the street. and told the dude to go get it. And I was shocked because I was like, damn, you talking to an adult like that? He was like, yo, listen, this stuff make people do whatever you want. He started telling me his exploits, who he slept with because of the drug. And I was playing football at the time. I was playing football for the Greenpoint Crusaders at the time in McCarran Park. So I just made the paper playing ball. And I was like, I brought it back to the neighborhood to show everybody I was doing well. And when this occurred, the paradigm shift was like, damn, he took me to his house, to his apartment, showed me he had all the latest clothes and he had a VHS. And I was like, damn, like you doing really good. And he was like, yo, some friends of ours got it. So, if you want to get down, you got to talk to them. So, I was already known in Farragut for fighting, right?
Yeah.
I you came past 202 York Street and you was a young dude. You had to see me.
Mm-hmm.
Me and my one of my childhood friends, right? It was a couple of us, but it was one in particular that I was relatively close with. So, went down a block. And I remember just telling them, like, yo, what's up? They had the big gold chains and all that. And I was like, listen, I want some drugs to sell, just like that. And they were like, what? And I was like, yeah, I want some drugs to sell. I heard y'all got it. I want some drugs to sell. And I remember them giving me a 500 pack. And telling me, okay, you go to this building over here. That's going to be where you at. Whatever come through, you get it. I was getting 20%. And that was the beginning.
Yeah.
And then, come to find out, it was a setup because the place that they told me to sell drugs in front of was under somebody else. And come to find out, I came to find out that it was a guy from Fort Greene named 50 Cent. So me and him had a conversation about me being on his location, taking money from him, got into an argument, verbal, guns were drawn, and we just dispersed at that time. Then he came back and seen that I was still operating on the location that he claimed was his. And he was like, yo, you got heart. Because usually, he says something and that was it. And, I wanted to fight. I didn't have a gun at the time. I wanted to fight. They had weapons. I didn't have. So I knew that I could beat him. So I used to screw face him and stuff, and he was like, "Yo, I'm gonna rob your boys. I'm gonna show you how much I'm not no joke. I'm gonna rob your boys. You can even go tell them." And I went to tell him. I said, "Yo, listen, he said he coming to rob y'all." And then they showed me all these weapons. Like, "Yo, listen, he come here. It's gonna be on." And I would never forget. I was across the street. I seen him go in the building. I seen him come out the building with a bunch of jury, and he sprayed a Uzi in the air, jumped in the car, and he was gone.
And now, bro, just to let the people know, excuse me for cutting you off, but just to let them know, we're not talking about 50, the singer.
No, we're talking about Kelvin Martin, the original 50 Cent. Yeah. So, so then, I thought that they would say, you know what, greenlight him. Like, let me get at him, because I wanted to get at him anyway because of the verbal confrontation we had. And he wasn't from the area. He wasn't from our area. He wasn't from our projects. So I was like, I'll take care of him, And they were like, nah, we get money. We're not with the violence. But then I was with the violence. So I felt in a way they didn't do nothing to him. And he eventually, he used to keep young shooters with him. And he had a young shooter with him that just came home from jail. He was real swollen, and he disrespected a girl in the building. And the girl's brother, real slim, came out, confronted him. He then told his shooter to get out the car and handle the situation. And short story short, and this was summertime, everybody was out, it was embarrassing. And I knew he had to replace that dude. I knew he was going to replace that dude. And eventually, I became that replacement. So shortly after, I became his shooter, and we went to DC. Right before we went to DC, a prominent individual in Fort Greene got robbed, and they thought he had something to do with it, which he didn't. And he put a bag on his head. He put a bounty on his head, and I remember him laughing about it and saying, like, I know who did it, and calling the dude and said, listen, my name is on this bullshit. You're going to give me a cut. And I remember driving through Fort Greene. Now there's supposed to have been a bounty on his head. And one of the guys that's supposed to have took the bounty, we bumped into him on Flatbush Extension. And he's leaning in the car window. I'm in the passenger seat. And his gun is right there. I can like just grab his gun, whatever. And he was like talking, yo, you going to this event, blah, 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 blah. And they just was shooting the shit. And then he drove off. And then he told me, yeah, that's such and such. He took the contract. He think I don't know. And we drove down. He was talking to somebody. I think everybody, well, not everybody, but some people in Brooklyn remember when another dude from Fort Greene got thrown down the escalator by him. That was the day that occurred. So we went to DC. He was like, listen, if they kill me, they get nothing. If I kill them, I get the projects. And I got locked up in DC. He came back to New York and he was murdered. And then I started to go out on my own. So now I established myself. I had a space out in DC when I came out. I was still going to New York. I was, making other trips, Connecticut. And then January 91, my uncle died. And I remember after my uncle died, that was my favorite uncle, military dude, real good dude, dangerous dude too. He used to get us up in the morning, make us do calisthenics and all this other stuff. He was real stern like that. And my mom wrote in the book, like, I'm right behind you. And they were favorite brother and sister. And sure enough, February, my mother passed February 19th. So I had met a young lady that was going to Howard University. I was getting ready to just up and leave, right? At this time, I had 3 children by 3 different women, or they were pregnant at the time, either just gave birth or pregnant at the time. And I was about to go to DC. And there was an incident that occurred in my building, which led up to a young man losing his life, right? And that next morning, I got on a plane, I went to DC, got on the shuttle, went to DC. I got a call a couple of days later, said that they found somebody in my building, and they said that I was the one who committed the crime. And not long after that, I was already on probation for a weapon. And then shortly after that, I went to probation. They gave me, and March 4th, 1991 was the beginning of my 20 years in prison. So eventually they tried to pin other murders. I had 10 uncharged crimes, acts of violence over drug territory. They used 3 of them in court. And then, I started studying law when I was incarcerated, and I started to change my life maybe 8 years in. Prior to that, I did everything that I was doing in the street. So drugs, everything that goes on out here goes on inside. Until some of the old timers that were really serious about the community and change got me up out of that yard and started to talk to me about development and correcting some of the ills that we were a part of while we were outside, while we were out in the community. And I became involved in a lot of community organizations on the inside. One of them was the Youth Assistance Program, was formerly known as the Scared Straight Program. So we would raise money to send buses to the neighborhoods, our neighborhoods, to have the kids come up to the prison and show them, like, this is what this is about. I started out there maybe it took me maybe 3 years to become the director. I was so a part of the Prisoners for AIDS Counseling and Education. I got Department of Labor certifications. I got my legal research certificate. I did numerous programs. Greenhaven Correctional Facility was the think tank for, Greenhaven Correctional Facility was the think tank for a lot of the programs all across New York State. So those guys that came up with these programs and that were helping people, Department of Corrections sought fit to adopt those programs and make them their own. So so after 20 years, one of the first things that I did was come out and go to college. So once we were in Greenhaven, we used to debate Yale Law School. Yale Law School was coming in for approximately 20 years prior. And one of the notable people that used to come in from Yale Law School was Jodie Foster. So knowing we used to debate them, deal with different topics, and they used to always come and ask, like, damn, you kind of smart, like, why are you in jail? And it used to bewilder me to think that people associate stupidity with prison and not addressing issues that they may have had in the past. So I said to myself, the first thing I do when I get home is go to college. And then I also wanted to be in my children's lives because I was gone their whole life. So I snatched my younger brother. As soon as I got out, I told him, we going to Mercy College in Brooklyn, the Brooklyn campus. We enrolled in January 2011, got my degree May 2015, started working in the human service field, held a bunch of other odd jobs, worked, I've been working consistently for the last 11 years, almost 12 years. So, I've been helping a lot of people. I helped some brothers gain their parole. I've actually helped one of my brothers get clemency, and I'm here.
You're doing your thing. You're doing it the right way, man. A lot of people don't do it.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So currently, I'm the director for Fatherhood Initiative at Man Up Inc. in Brooklyn, New York. Our office is at the PJAC Center, Prince Joshua Vito Community Center, located 876 Skank Ave. And I also work for the Urban Institute, which is a policy organization located in DC, but it deals with the whole country. So we're working on some credible messenger initiatives there. I have a nonprofit called Linking Arts, Agriculture, and Sports Trauma, addressing mental health trauma through sports, arts, and agriculture. I'm a member of House of Community. It's called Betel Jamal, located in Staten Island too as well. I'm a safeguarder or caregiver for a garden, a community garden called Roots of Peace in Park Hill, Staten Island. Former football coach. I coached the Brooklyn Hurricanes. The Brooklyn Pit Bulls. I coached the Staten Island Hurricanes. I'm raising 3 boys right now, and with my wife, I'm married, and I've just been giving back. Oh, also, I'm also a director of Returning Citizens Alumni Association, which is for individuals who've done prison time, a set of doing mentorship work and also assisting them with jobs and reintegrating into society. And then lastly, I'm also over the Boys Club, which is for young people ages 5 to 15. And those programs are out of the Prince Joshua Vito Community Center, also known as PJAC.
Got you. What do you say for how can I explain it? For people that want to reach out to you and stuff like that, what would be the best, place to go? Would it be the one in Brooklyn?
Yeah, because I'm usually there Tuesdays through Saturdays, from 3:30, 3:40 to 8, 9 o'clock at night.
Okay, that sounds good. I'm gonna put that up while we get a couple of questions coming in. I'm pretty sure Lou has a couple of questions and stuff. So while Lou hits you with these questions, I'm gonna put the address and that stuff up, and I'll have it running on the bottom in a second. So Lou.
Yes, sir.
It's all you, brother. You want to ask Rose some questions?
Yeah. So initially, okay. So when you got out, or what was that other? Because I heard you mention you ran into some brothers that were more on the positive tip inside, right? What were they telling you? What was some of the game they were giving you? What was some of that stuff they were putting down for you to pick up to make you want to make that change? You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, definitely. So it was funny because Brother Ibrahim, who was the initial contact that I had, he was like, yo, when he approached me, he was like, yo, you ain't no fucking dummy. He was like, yo, meet me in J school. So when he told me meet me in J school, I thought it was a call out for some violence. So now I told a couple of my young brothers that I was in the yard with, like, yo, we gonna go there, and I think the old timers want some smoke. And I seen, like, when we went there was a round table, and everybody at that table was a lifer, and they had at least 25 already in. So I had 20. I had maybe, another 12 to go, but they were sitting in there and they were talking about how fucked up drug dealers are, right? And how they destroy communities and all this other stuff. And that was a paradigm shift for me because, that was that's glorified in the street. You know, we had access to all the women, we getting money, and the money in the 80s was crazy. Like, I was a kid in the 80s, but you couldn't tell me nothing. Whatever I wanted, I got.
Right.
So once they started to talk about that, they started to talk about crime generative factors. They started to talk about how over 60% of the individuals that are incarcerated come from 7 neighborhoods in the 5 boroughs, right? And why there was a large concentration of these people going to prison, unlike other areas in the 5 boroughs, and how we participate in that genocide, right? By locking dudes down and, you know, being around individuals who started to expand my mind on revolution, the political structure, being an activist, right? Eddie Ellis was one of those guys. He was an activist. He started a radio program on the Count. You know, you had Glenn Martin. He started Just Leadership USA. You had Julio Medina, who has Exodus, transitional community. So these were the guys that either I was around directly or indirectly that said, talk the talk and walk the walk, as far as changing our community and our community norms. So that those guys, they put it on. It was like, it's not just happenstance that all the crime and all this stuff is going on in only certain neighborhoods. There's a bigger design, and once you understand that design, you have a responsibility to not perpetrate the things that you've done prior to you sitting in those cells for approximately 2 decades. So I took that on. Like, some people was like, man, F everybody else, you know. But I took that on. I took that oath seriously. As you can see, this is 11 years in, almost 12 years in. So that's the kind of game they put me on. Understanding that your mental was the most dangerous thing, right? Because you had dudes on the inside that looked like they can just walk right into a Mr. Olympia competition, but they were weak-minded. So once I started to understand that everything was mental, then I started to see things a little bit different, right? You know, wasn't no sucker in me. I've always had heart. I'm never gonna, you know, I'm never gonna pick on someone, right? And I hated bullies. And I always wanted to do what was right. If I knew what was right, I'm gonna do what was right. So what they spoke to me resonated in me, and I just started to read. I read thousands of books. I've read and I put things together and I figured things out. And one of the main reasons why I started to go on that journey was for my children. You know, because I know that eventually I would be back in their lives, and you know, they're gonna have questions, and I need some answers. I need to be able to answer those questions.
That's what's up. Where in Angela wants to know, where in Staten Island, Ramel?
Where in Staten Island?
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
So the community garden is in Park Hill. That's on Targee Street. And when we do community feed up, right, with House of Community, we go to all the different projects. There's only like 6-7 projects in Staten Island. So we go to the harbor, we go to We go to Park Hill, we go to Arlington, we go to New Brighton, we go to West Brighton, and we also go to oh goodness, Stapleton.
Let me ask you this. I know when I got out after doing, I was given a 6-year term, and I know after getting out on that, it was a little bit culture shock. I seen a lot of change, you know, as far as the new developments and stuff like that, and a lot of other change. So you, after doing 2 decades, did you go to a transition? Did you go like to a re-entry program at like a living program first, or did you just parole straight to your family? And did you have a effect of the culture shock for being gone for so long?
Nah, I was just thrown in a. It was just they gave me $40, and then I had a check for whatever was in my account, and I never forget my boy Frankie, which was in one of the pictures. He came to get me. He was living in Middletown, so he came to get me. He had a pool, big pool in the backyard. I swam there, and you know, I'm thinking about, damn, yo, I'm out. They wanted to put me in a halfway house. Now, I'm supposed to be connected to all these people that are providing these services, but a lot of them, and I started to understand that a lot of them couldn't help me because of the mental. I didn't have mental health issues. I didn't have the substance abuse issues, and I would have to claim those issues in order for me to get certain services. So I wound up staying with I was in I think it was on Lewis or something. They tore the building down already. It was a halfway house. I was there for maybe 4 days, and I had an anxiety attack because this is the first time I've been out of prison, and I heard gunshots, and I didn't have a gun on me. So I barricaded the door. I'm bugging. I see the helicopters for the first time. They weren't doing that when I was incarcerated. Yeah, one of my friends named Harry, right? He wound up saying, "Yo, listen, you got a bank account?" And I was like, "Nah." He was like, "Yo, you need to get a bank account, boom, 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 credit scored, all that we had." And he helped me immensely. Took me to Bank of America. I opened my first account, and then, you know, learning about checks and you know, and rent and all that other stuff. Like the 80s was the paper bag. I call it the paper bag 80s, right? You can bring a paper bag to the dealership. They're not going to ask you questions. You can bring a paper bag and pay your rent, you know? So, yeah, it was definitely a paradigm shift. I've never been a crowd person. I don't like crowds still to this day. I really don't go out much. But when I'm in the crowd, I'm always on defense mode. And yeah. So I'm still learning and adjusting, because it's still an adjustment.
Yeah, I can attest
But I know
to that too, man. Yeah, I could attest to that too about the crowds. Even to this day, I get away from people. I place myself where I could sit, at like a restaurant where I could see it, all entrances. You know, that PTSD is real, man. You know what I mean? So I get what you're saying, you know?
Yeah, it's a totally different thing, bro. From the 80s to now, then doing 20, coming out. Oh man.
Oh yeah, forget about it. It's you know, it's like
and even dealing with women, you know, because I had prior to me getting married, I dated and you know, and the stigma, like, oh, he did 20 years, he gotta be, you know, he gotta have partaken in some other alternative lifestyle. And I'm like, what? Right? Yeah. So this is my second marriage. I was married for 12 years prior to. I went 6 years without a woman, but yeah. So that was crazy for me. That was a paradigm shift for me, for somebody even questioning that just because of the amount of time.
Yeah, that's a bad that's a myth, or I don't know how to name that, what to put on that, but people always think that, and you know, because they hear all the stories, Big Bubba and this and that. That's a definite no-no in California. If you get caught doing any of that type of stuff, you're gonna get your ass handed to you by your people. You know what I mean? That's not tolerated. You know what I mean?
I can't see that, man. Even though there's been a lot of cats that I know that have gone down that road, and they pay for it eventually, either inside or out.
Yeah. Well, don't get me wrong. They do got you know, protective custody yards that does go on. You know what I mean? But as far as on a general pop yard in California, that's not happening.
Yeah.
So, you know, and then and, you know, that's another thing too. People talk about, you know, when you're in recovery, as far as substance abuse, stuff like that, it's always encouraged not to try to get into a relationship. So I can only imagine, you know, after doing so many years in the joint, you know, you got to get yourself, you know, to jump into that relationship, especially if you've always been in like a toxic relationship. It's always, I would imagine it'd be better to do, you know, follow those same directives or suggestions and get yourself situated, you know, and get your priorities set, and, you know, get some of your goals, your short-term goals out the way first before you even attempt to get into a relationship anyways, you know. Sometimes it's just better,
because that was tough too. Because you know, like I said, I've dated, and women like, yo, listen, I know you driven, blah blah blah, yo, I'll look out for you, and I'm like, I can't do it. I'm not gonna see myself, if we get into an argument, you telling me get out.
Yeah.
Right? So I gotta make sure I'm right. Like a relationship costs. People
Exactly.
don't understand that. Like a relationship costs, especially now in my adult mind, and I'm being responsible. Like I couldn't afford to be in a relationship when I first came home. You know, not that I didn't want sex, but I was like, yo, I can't afford to be in a relationship, because as soon as I want to do something nice for her, it's a wrap, right? And I've worked a bunch of different jobs. Like I worked commercial flooring, I did private sanitation, I did construction, I worked for a tree service. Goodness gracious. I worked for Health First for a short period of time, like maybe a month or so. I got fired from there. So I definitely held some jobs, you know, some that I got fired from, some that I quit from, but I realized that I wasn't ready to settle down until I was okay. And not okay like I don't have bills or whatever the case may be, but okay where I'm emotionally available as well. Because, you know, you get into a relationship and it's sex, and that's what it is. And then after the sex, and that was me prior to me going to being incarcerated, it was just sex. So now being emotionally available, having a connection with another individual, and loving yourself to the point where you understand what loving another individual is about, right? And then, you know, having my anger under control, because I was always a wild boy. You know, Nelson can attest. I was always a wild boy. Like that was my main thing. I was always smart.
Yeah.
But violence was my first option most of the time.
The hands would go up. That'd be the first thing. I remember that.
Yeah.
So you got that's it. All that people don't. A lot of people, us, when we, you know, we always think we got it. You know, because I've been in and out a few times, and it always, you know, my way. I always think I got it handled. I know what I'm doing, and it never worked out that way. Otherwise, I wouldn't be going back to the joint. You know what I mean? Yeah. But you know, I humbled myself when I got out this time. I washed dishes. That was my first job, and I always said I wouldn't do that. You know.
Yeah. And who wants to be around a bunch of dudes, right?
Right.
Because that was part of the the psychosis, right? Who consciously wants to be around a bunch of dudes, right? I don't. You know, the woman is the most beautiful creation Allah has made, right? Because I'm like, man, listen, I would rather be around a bunch of women than a bunch of men any day.
Yeah.
You know, and that's part of, you know, that the positive self-talk is that, you know, a lot of times you're going to be confronted with obstacles. Now, how do you handle those obstacles? Do you get out unscathed? Sometimes it may be a bruise to an ego or whatever the case may be, but then there's always that next day, right? And I always thought about that, especially going to parole board and having that conversation with the parole commissioners and letting them know, like, listen, you know, it was an argument. It was an argument that I felt that I wanted to end, right? And I wasn't even in that frame of mind when this person died. It was more so like, you know, I want to teach you a lesson,
Right.
you know,
Right.
and then weighing that was an expensive lesson, a very expensive lesson.
How many parole boards did you go to before you were released?
I made my first.
Oh, okay.
I made my first, and I made that my aim and my goal was to make my first, because I made all the necessary changes. I did my work. I did my research. Was diligent on that, and I said, you know what, I'm gonna make my first one. I'm not playing with these people. I'm not, you know, and it's unfortunate. I've been around people who have been at their 8th and 9th parole board.
Yeah.
You know, getting hit 2 years. You know, I didn't want to go through that.
Yeah, that's what I'm used to seeing. People go over and over again to the parole board, getting 3-year denials, 5-year denials. You know, I very rarely seen anybody get out their first one. You know, and like I had mentioned to when we talked yesterday or the day before, California, there's not 8 1/3 to 20 or 8 1/3 to 15. You know, it's just you get sentenced to 20 to life, 20 or 15 to life, 25 to life, 27 to life. You know, and then you're eligible. I think it is you're eligible to go like 7 years before your early. Well, I forgot exactly how it goes, but once you get the metric, I think the word is the metric, out of your sentence out of the way, then you're eligible for, you know, parole. So I know guys that got like a friend of mine. He's been down since 1981, and and it's not a murder, it's a kidnap robbery, and he's been down since 81, and so that's 41 years he's been down. He's 65 now, and he keeps getting denied. Like they'll tell him, you know, anger management, take this, take that. You know, he continues to keep getting 3-year denials, which is really a year and a half, because you come back in about a year and a half. But you know, part of the problem is they want you to admit what you did, and a lot of these guys say they didn't do the crime. You know, they did everything that they're asked of. But when they go in front of the board, they don't admit to the crime they're there for, because they say they didn't do it. So I don't know. You know, I don't really know. Sometimes I believe that they didn't do it. Why would they be? You know, yeah.
Yeah. I've had a friend, actually, his name is Dewey Mozella. I got a picture with him. He used to box. ESPN honored him he went to the parole board after I went to the parole board, and he was in Fishkill Correctional Facility with me. And I remember him when he got hit at the board, him telling the officer, call a sergeant, because, you know, I don't want to hurt anybody. And, you know, this is one of my brothers. So I'm like, yo, what's up? He was like, nah, yo, chill out. You know what I'm saying? I got this. And, you know, having one of those, he was accused of a rape. So, and he was like the heavyweight champ on the inside. So he had hands. He was known for his hands. He had a horrible crime that he was falsely accused of, and they just kept telling him to admit to it, and they would let him go. So I think he did like 27, 28 years. And then I've known quite a few people that that are trapped off now by one detective that lives out here in Staten Island named Scarcella. I know at least 4 people that are millionaires now that has done time because he did something with a witness or some evidence or whatever. So I know it's definitely tough, especially, you know, you're in this system and it's easy to get in. It's hard to get out. You know, it's definitely hard to get out. So, you know, one of the guys that worked with me on the Fatherhood Initiative, he just did 32 years. He's been out 4 months. And I'm helping him get acclimated, you know, back into the society. Because, you know, you're in a kind of a space where wherever you were, like how old you were when you went in, you do a long time, you still have a connection to that age. So if you was, you know, you was 19, 20, you still have a connection in your mind to that 20-year-old you, even though you're 50.
Yeah.
Right? Whether it's the type of women, whether some of the conversation, there's always a connection that's still there.
No, it is what it is, man. I mean, to me, I don't know. It's what you were talking about before earlier. It was like the, how can I explain it? Oh my God, it's on the tip of my tongue. I can't spit it out now. What the hell? Anyway, remember how when we were younger, you would blow up. You know what I mean? Like your man, you know, you're gonna blow up. How does it feel now, being that you're out and you don't have? Because I'm pretty sure the temperament is still there, but how are you controlling that temperament? You feel me?
So,
how would you control the temperament?
No, absolutely. That's an excellent question because I was questioning on that not too long because the population that I work with, the staff that I work with, right? Some of my colleagues, they're not there yet, right? So understanding my position, and everything has a price, a cost, right?
Yeah,
so here it is. I'm 51. I can't be rolling on the ground with nobody.
Yep.
At 51. I can't get into beefs with dudes at 51, right? The stakes are a lot higher. I got family at home. I got a family I got to take care of. So I'm mindful. Even though those feelings come up, I have to put them in perspective at the end of the day, right? Because if it's go, there's no turning back the clock. So I understand that. So I was talking to one of the young brothers at the center, and I told him that, you know, he was like, yo, 20 years, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I'm able to master time. I'm able to master time. You need to be able to, especially if you get into a confrontation, slow time down.
Yeah.
Because once you get to that point and you're heated and you make that decision,
Shit.
you can't get it back.
You can't get it back.
You can't take it back. That's right.
That's right. So my technique is slow time down. Slow time down. Because if you don't slow time down, especially in any confrontation, or once you start to feel that your feelings are getting involved, you'll make that decision, and that decision will feel good at that time. And then after you do it, you're gonna be like, why the fuck did I do that?
It's always been like that. You always think about it afterwards, like, damn, why'd I do that stupid shit? You know,
but it's gonna hurt even. It's gonna hurt even more when reality sets in. That, you know, you got all these people depending on you now after you've been, you know, after you've been doing right. So you've been showing this different side of you, and then now, you know, one mistake because you let it get to you, You know, I think that would hurt even more. You know what I mean?
Well, at our age, it would be real bad.
Oh yeah, nobody wants to lay on that cookie cutter, concrete bunk or that metal bunk no more, man.
But you know what? It gets difficult. It gets difficult now because coming from the time that we came from and dealing with people now, especially like the younger generation, they really do push them buttons. They really do push them buttons. So you really do have to take that breath in, like, oh, okay, one of these.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know my situation.
It's a paradigm shift because, you have to think for them too, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes it may be, they may walk away and be like, yo, that MF is a punk. Not knowing that you let them live.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't know. Sometimes that's a victory because you have enough time to get away from the idiot.
Yep.
Right. And hindsight is 20/20, right? So we live life forward and we think it backwards. So now we make decisions and then we have to think back to say, well, was that a good decision or was that not a good decision?
Mm-hmm.
And as you get older, and this is what young folk will never know how to appreciate until they get older. That's a pleasure they will never get to know until they get older.
Right.
So we could give them until they blue in the face.
Yep.
That's if they get older.
If they get
so
older,
we can talk to them with the face, and it's like, yo, listen, they just don't. They suffer from TCD, theory on cognitive dissonance, right? They can't understand that. That doesn't register in their head. And if they were to believe it, it would change their lives.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. It's the way it is.
That's what being a man, growing up to be a man is growth. Them youngsters, when we're young, we don't do that. We don't go, like you said, hindsight. We don't go back and, follow, walk back to our steps and figure out what was wrong, what we shouldn't have done. You know what I mean? And then when you're a bigger man, if it, depending on what type of situation it is, you can always go back and apologize to that person. You know what I mean? On a more, you can always apologize, but it's a lot better, obviously when it's a smaller situation at hand that went down, you know what I mean? Yeah, that's what I always tell myself. When I can recognize, when I don't get upset when somebody's giving me constructive criticism and then I realize, bro, you're wrong, then I can go back and I can try to make things right. You know what I mean? And I've been doing that a lot, now that I've been, staying away from things,
Yeah, because that's a tactic too, avoidance.
Run a little lag.
And that tactic
minimize stuff.
Yeah. And what you can't avoid
minimize things. Sorry about that, man. Right. So let me so I'm from California. You guys know that. You're from New York. So everybody knows that California is the real strict politics. Everything's done by race. The telephones, the showers, the day rooms, the bar work, the basketball courts, the handball courts, maybe even sometimes the drinking fountains, depending on where you're at. You got to be in the cell with your own people, with your own kinds, so-called own kind. So can you run down how New York is a little bit when it comes to that, as far as the program on the yard and the program in the buildings and all that type of stuff?
So in New York, they do practice that type of
politics.
They practice that type of the type of separation, right? And I think that I think it was Tolstoy that talked about, if you want to know about a country, look at the prisons, look at who they're locking up, right? And not only that, taking it a step further is that you look at what they co-sign, right? Because they co-sign racism and separation too as well. Because a lot of us are cool. Me and Nelson are cool, right? And I've seen brothers. I got friends in all walks of life, right? Different races or whatever. If they're good people, they're good people. That's my only criteria, right? But you have, especially in prison, no, you have to stay with the whites. You have to stay with the Spanish-speaking people, right? You have to stay with this religion. You have to stay with this borough. Like that's how the yard is separated, especially in Greenhaven. Greenhaven, it was like you had a Queens court, you had a Brooklyn court, you had the white boy court, you had the Spanish court. You know, some people had 2 and 3 different options on courts that they can work out on, but it was separated. It was a known separation like that.
Right.
So you had some people that can work on any court. You had some people that were that respectful, because respect is big in prison. Like you can die for disrespect, just like out here.
Absolutely.
You know, so I know that when we talk about levels, right? And I think, and I'm gonna go back to, because I seen a comment about boys, males, and men, right? Especially in this society. So, and explaining that, right? And I say that we're all male because of our appendage, right? Because we have an Audi. I want to be I don't want to be vulgar, right? Because we have a penis. We're male, right? And then we get to another level. After that criteria, we become boys, right? Boys play with toys. Boys like girls, right? May not have their decisions or minds made up. Don't have a real criteria. Boys don't really have a criteria. And then you have the highest level is man, and man is mind. We create worlds. We have criteria for the stuff that we do. We take ownership in what we do. We support, nurture, and protect our world. That man is. So there's a big difference in dealing with males in this day and age, right? And the use of the term man. You know, a lot of people use that loosely, and everybody's not a man, you know, and some are stuck in various different levels. But you know, once you're a man, that racism stuff don't fly. It definitely don't fly. Because like I think I was telling you guys the other day, I said most of the people that that I had issues with, that were trying to kill me and I was trying to kill them, look like me.
Yeah.
You know, so you know, trying to straighten a lot of this, a lot of these ills out is a responsibility, like I said, that I took on, and that's why I work the way I work. That's why I do what I do. You know, a lot of times it's tired. A lot of times I'm home, I'm asleep. You know, I need rest, need to recharge and regenerate. Ain't no days off. You know, that's my cousin Lionel. That's his thing. No days off. You know,
no days off. Yeah.
And that's what.
Yeah,
this
but
is,
what can people do with kids now? I mean, let's say the teenagers growing up. I mean, from the way we grew up, and we really didn't have nobody out there pushing us like that. But now, what can a person do to help that juvenile get to that stage? Because as you see, a lot of kids out there, they ass backwards.
See that thing. See, one of the things is you need a mentor.
Yeah,
I think that everybody, I don't care how old you are, you need a mentor. You need somebody who is going to give you good counsel. You know, that's the main, that is so crucial, right? Is that you're able to get good counsel. That will take you to the next level, right? Responsible counsel.
I got you.
Because everybody doesn't, a lot of people want to help, and a lot of people have the desire to help, and it makes it tough wanting to help but not knowing how to help, because you got to know how to help.
Yeah, definitely.
You can't just think that sometimes it may be a bandage on it, right? I had a brother that I talked to today. He called me today. He's in Pennsylvania, and he came into the office, and he was like, "Yo, he said he was going to kill his baby mother." Sure. And I sat with him for almost 2 hours, and I had to tell him, because my colleague go home. I said, "Listen, bro, we gotta stay here and put a cap on this. We can't let him leave out of here without us having some kind of understanding, right?
Yeah.
How do I know he understands what is going on, right? And how do you know he understands? Is that he can give it back to you, right?
Yeah.
Not verbatim, but give it back in his words to show you that he understands.
Yeah.
That's
what it is. I mean, it's hard. It's hard to really get through sometimes, but you keep pushing and pushing and pushing, you'll get through eventually.
Yes, absolutely. And that's what it's about. It's about love, it's about respect, it's about connecting. It's about understanding that all of us want the same things. All of us want the same thing, right? How about getting them is where we differ. But I want to be able to lead this. I want to be able to leave this planet in better than it was when I got here, right? That seems like a lofty goal, but I also want to know that I affected a lot of individuals' lives while I was here, which I have, and every once in a while I'm reminded when somebody pulls up on me in the street and like, "Yo, what's going on, bro? Or what's up, big bro? I'm doing this, I'm working here, I got a kid, I got, and I get that. And I love it every time it happens."
Now, let me ask you something. You get any hatred from the old neighborhood? You get any? Because you know how they was back in the day, bro. If they see you doing good.
Yeah, I've received some shade.
Yeah.
I've received some shade. Like one of the guys, I have a trucking company. So, when I saw him face to face, we were talking about land and this and that. And, it was always a positive conversation. So I tried to reach out to him again. He said he couldn't be associated with me because he left that alone, and that he was supposed to be getting some government contracts and all that. And I'm like, I'm around government officials. I got government officials on my phone. Like, I can call a councilman, a councilwoman. I've been around the mayors, So, but I was taken aback because when we were face to face, it wasn't that situation. So I guess he felt comfortable throwing shade from a distance. So it's all good though.
That's how you know how it is, bro. Nobody does it like back in the day. If you had something to say to somebody, dead on. You didn't do that telephone or the keyboard shit. You didn't do that, man. You went up to the person.
Yeah. And that's just, and I've been like that. And I try to let my young people understand that there's no real gray area. You have to pick a side, right? Even if you don't do anything, you still have to pick a side, right?
It is what it is.
If you don't, one will be picked for you.
Yep, that's how it is. Let's see if we got any questions for you in the chat. So if anybody got any questions out there, y'all want to ask, this is the time.
Yes, yes.
Boom, boom, boom. I'm seeing a lot of good nights, good nights, good nights. Good night, Primo.
Primo is, I don't know who Primo is, but shout out to Primo.
Primo's a good guy. He's we interviewed him one of our first shows. He's out of Chicago.
Okay, and Joe Della Mura.
Joe Della Mura. Yep. Arrivederci, Primo.
Yeah.
Then I got my man, the Endus. He's from Buffalo. Let me drop my man Carlos on. Big Carlos.
Okay.
Don Carlos.
Don Carlos, right? They don't call him Carlito. I had a homeboy named Carlito and Pop. They were my childhood friends too in Farragut.
Yo, you mentioned that name earlier, man. The one that picked you up. You're not talking about the last name was with an N, right?
You talking Frankie? Yeah. Nito.
We went to school together. Yeah.
Yeah. That's my bro. We all, me, him, and Harry. I'm older than him by 2 days, so I always get on him about that. Like, yo, respect your elders. Yo, phenomenal dude, man. You know, never been to prison. You know, stand up dude. And I remember him telling me, like, yo, I couldn't do that shit. Like, how you? I had no other choice. But I had a picture with me holding his son. His son is playing baseball in college now, and I remember, you know, dude been, you know, stood by me and wasn't even in the life, and he stood by me. You know,
that's what's up. That's a friend.
Yeah. He down there in Florida right now.
That's what's up. Carlos, what's up, Bob? What you got?
I'm still taking it in. You know, Romel's a deep brother, and I think what he's doing is something that should be commended. And I just wish more would make that effort. You know, because I think this generation is really, really lost.
Yeah, they just need, like I said, a hand, bro.
They need
at least us growing up as kids. We had some of the old, what we call the OGs. We had other guys that, you know, give us guidance, give us even the simple tools of how the streets are. That's not the case anymore. These kids are learning everything from rap videos and Instagram and Snapchat and stuff, and they're lost. They really are lost.
Video games.
But we the connectors, though. You know what I'm saying, Brother Carlos? We the connectors, man. And again, it's just giving them a piece, right? And once it's like when you feed a young person something that they've never had before, and it's really good to them, you know it's good for them, and they taste it and it's good for them, and they like it. That's the best thing you can do, because they're gonna eat that again.
Yeah,
they're gonna.
You're absolutely right.
They're gonna eat that. And that's what we just gotta find, something that's good for them, that they can ingest and that they like, you know, and they'll take it from there. And
it's how you dress it.
Go ahead.
It's how you dress it up. Because I remember I came home from my skid bit, and I had a whole conversation with a group of my youngsters that were under me. And I explained to them, you know, what is the future, what's going on, and that this is nothing to brag about. This is not a badge of honor. And I told them, I was like, you know, if you guys are going to be out here, you got to make sure you in it to win it. I was like, if you unsure, I was like, go the other route. I was like, because this is different now, and it's not going to get any better. And out of that group, I swear, they're all family men, they're all fathers, they're all working legit. Maybe 3 out of about 20 stood in the street, you know, but the rest took that and they chose to live. They even left the area. They live in Connecticut. They live in Rhode Island. They moved. They became friends, and I see them on Facebook, pictures with their kids and stuff like that, and it makes me feel good because I feel if I would not talk to the way I did and me experiencing what I experienced, I was like, they took that and said, you know what, if he, which was our OG, could come out here and say, you know, this is all garbage and I'm going to leave this alone, and it affected them. So, you know, I think that's a beautiful thing. And I always smile when I see pictures of them and their kids and everything.
Yeah. Small victories, man. Small victories. Yeah.
It's got to work. There we go. Boom, a little bit better. All right, Lou's out. He's got to pick up the girls. So we got you, Lou. We got you.
Okay. So we got any more questions?
Yeah, let's see. Anybody got some more questions out there? Carlos, you got any questions for Romel?
I think me and Romel pretty much on the same level.
Yeah, definitely are. Definitely are. Especially when you kicked out the 10-toe joint yesterday. I was laughing. That's the way it is. Yo, I mean, what do you think now, Ro? Between us, I mean, how do you feel now with the way things are going as far as the way kids used to get treated back in the day as far as getting reprimanded and now? You know what I'm saying? Like back in the day, you know, we used to get it from the neighbors, from the parents, from whoever caught us. Nowadays, it's a whole different ball game. So how is that working out?
Well, I think because of the information age, you had a push in the 90s, no, the early 2000s, really, to weaponize our children, right? The Department of Miseducation started to tell kids to report their parents, right?
Exactly.
So they can get out of being disciplined.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, and it's a difference between discipline and punishment, right? And you know, a lot of them, and I think that this is it could be part and parcel with a lot of young people don't know what it is to get punched in the face, right? And you probably would say, what that got to do with anything, right? When I was young, my best friend, we had to fight first, and there was something in the fight that let me know that he had a level of aggression, and that if it was pushed to it, he would fight. Right. And then we knew that after the fight, the old timers would make us shake hands.
Absolutely.
So it wasn't I don't like you, and I don't like you so much that I want to kill you. It was, I don't like you, but we're gonna handle this. If there's a conflict, let us handle this conflict one-on-one, and we'll go from there. Right. So I think that a lot of the as we've grown older, and this was another principle too that I think was kind of lost, the punk out of the group, he's able to hide now. Back then, you couldn't be a punk in the group. If you was a punk in a group and the group knew you were a punk, you couldn't start no shit with nobody.
Exactly.
Because they're telling you, shut up with your punk ass, right?
Yep.
Now, the punk is the one with the gun. The punk is the one that's possibly leading the group.
Yeah.
Right? With his insecurities, or maybe he got money, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe he's manipulative. But it hurt us because now a punch in the face will result in your death.
Absolutely.
You know, and nobody wants to be embarrassed. You know, it's a video age now. So you get punched in the face, somebody got it, world star, and next thing you know, there's a viral of you getting punched in the face, and then you have to respond because the world saw an altercation, but that might turn into a death sentence for somebody,
Yeah.
and a prison sentence.
Yeah. Social media has a big effect on that. You're absolutely right.
Definitely, bro. It is what it is. You know how many, and I've been trying to say it for a while, but it's like with the YouTube. You see people on here with the YouTube beefing thing. You know, there's people out there that are nuts. They take that
Yeah.
shit to heart. They don't understand this is an entertainment thing. It's not real life. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, if you watch on YouTube, you see a lot of people getting murked over stupid shit. I mean, I'm like, wow, that's okay.
Yeah. And when they come through, it's like, damn, over that,
Yeah.
right? Because I've had a homeboy. He did 27 years for killing somebody for an 8-ball jacket. Right? We got dudes that's doing 25 years for killing somebody for a boombox.
Yep.
Or a pair of wallabies.
Yeah. I remember them days, boy.
Or a pair of Pumas, right? $32. Remember, they was $32. That was a lot of money back then.
Yep.
So, this life is a thinking man's game.
Yeah.
If you don't think, you're going to die. Straight up.
Yeah.
If you don't think, somebody's going to think for you, put you in positions you don't want to be put in, and then you're going to perish.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
No, that's what it is, man. That's what it is.
Technology has its effect too, because as kids, we would get bored in our room and we'd find stuff to do. If not, we'd sit down and we'd have a dialogue with our parents, with our uncles and stuff like that. Nowadays, these kids are content to lock themselves in their room, get on the computer, and pretty much the whole day goes by, and parents don't have that dialogue anymore with children. I don't think a lot don't, and that it's necessary. I do it with my son. I cut him off, and we sit down and we basically talk about everything. We'll bring up a topic and then I'll get into detail with him, and I try to keep him off the phone, the YouTube, the Snapchat, the stuff like that, and basically have a conversation with him. That way we can have that rapport.
Yeah, because their voice is important, right? Their voice is a reflection of what's going on in their mind, right?
Exactly.
And for my children, right? They only get in trouble for 2 reasons: doing what they want to do before doing what they have to do, and lying. Those are the only 2 reasons they get in trouble. Everything else we could talk about. Everything else, I'm going to ask you, and you can't tell me you weren't thinking. Why did you do whatever you've done? Well, I thought that, and then we can work. That's dialogue. We could work from there. Okay, right? And you're showing them how to think. You're not telling them what to think. And this is where television and all these other entertainment entities come into play, because they dictate to you what you should think.
Yep.
Right? They don't show you how to think. That's why it's good to read a book, right? Because when you read a book, you turn those words into pictures.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And that's a mind exercise.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
This is what took over the parents. That's what took over the parents.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you can understand the symbolism, there's a show called American Gods.
I've watched it.
Yeah, it's a little sensual and all that other stuff is in it.
Yeah.
But it talks about the old gods and how these new gods are taking over. And one of them is technology.
Yep.
So, it's something to think about.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
It's like me with mine. I tell them, there's no question that won't be answered, but there's certain rules in the house, and lying is number one. We don't lie to each other. It's absolutely. There's no need for it. We have. It doesn't. If you, even if you're in the wrong, I'd rather you be honest about it. I was like, and we can work things out, but do not lie to me. Do not hide it, because then you'll get in trouble. You're not in trouble yet. We're talking. You know.
Exactly. And then you give them an out, right? Because you say you only lie to save your life. If you feel you're going to die,
Yep.
Right? But if it's not life or death, no. Because understanding the concept of lying is you're giving somebody else power over you. Because telling the truth is a virtue, right?
Yeah.
So if I lie to you, I've put you above me, whether I fear you or whatever the case may be. I need to, and that's one of the first laws of Ma'at, is to thyself be true. So you got to be truthful. That's your connection to your higher power. Your higher being is being true to yourself.
Absolutely.
100% on that one. 100%.
Yeah. The Smiths Haunted Ghost Tube.
Yeah.
Yeah. They have a great website. They're into the ghost stuff, and just an awesome couple. Great husband and wife.
Okay. They said thank you. So I'm thanking you back. Angela, thank you too as well. Yeah, so we listen. We covered a lot.
We got a lot. Now the question is, let's repeat that. I got the address here, so I'm gonna put that address up again. Bam. And just tell them what days they can, get a hold of you. I didn't put a number because I don't want nobody calling you with that prank garbage.
Okay. So I'm at the below location from Tuesday to Saturday.
Gotcha.
From you say from 4 to 8. That location closes at 8. Saturday it closes at 9. There's a lot of different programs going on there. And just come through. If you want to come through, we have our fatherhoods on Thursdays. Our boys club on the 2nd and 4th Wednesday. So boys club is 2nd and 4th Wednesday, and Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. and that's for ages 5 to 15. Our fatherhood is every Thursday from 6 to 8 p.m. And we encourage all fathers. We talk about a whole bunch of different topics, strategies and tools, right? That you can use immediately. And we just hoping, we have a big fatherhood walk in June, and we're in the starting of the planning phase of the fatherhood walk in June.
That's fantastic.
That sounds good, man. Like I said, at least somebody's trying to help. You know what I mean? It is what it is. Oh man.
You're doing really good things, and it's commendable.
It's like I said, me and Ro know each other for a long time, man, and from the past to now, he's doing incredible fucking things, bro. Incredible things. Take my hat off to you, but I ain't got a hat, so I ain't even got hair no more.
Yeah, this is the last hoorah too. So after this I'm usually bald anyway. This was just, I don't know, maybe my mid-year crisis or something, to see if I can still grow it.
I can't even do that. My shit went. It just.
Yeah,
it went bye.
Yeah.
Yo. So yeah, man, it was good, bro. It was good having you on, bro.
Okay. Smash that like button.
Yep, smack that like button. But it was very good having you on. I'm pretty sure a lot of people got a little bit of insight. And like I said, I left the address there. So if anybody's in the New York area and need that help, whatever, there he is. That's the man you got to talk to.
That's right. That's
There
right.
you go. We got another
Thank
one.
you.
Cromel. Little bit near
Cromel,
Romel. It says Cromel. There you go.
Yeah, I thought it was a play on my name, right? Yeah.
But all right, gentlemen. Well, once again, Carlos, we passed another one.
Romel did a fantastic job, and I'm sure he'll be back on to give us
Definitely.
updates on what's going on new with his projects and everything. And it was just really appreciated it. We needed this.
Definitely, yeah. Fresh
All
and
right.
breath there.
Well, I'll be back as long as you guys will have me. You know, I'm a phone call away.
Whenever
And
you
I
want,
definitely
bro.
support the channel. Yes.
By the way, I'm
Absolutely.
finishing your guest room, bro. So just remember that.
There you go.
Listen, I will be there. I'm telling you.
Listening.
My
All right.
homeboy said that he was down in Florida. I was there, Gulf of Mexico, smoking cigars.
Shit.
I'll bring you some hand rolls too as well. From there's a spot over here they do hand rolls called Milk and Creams, and
Oh no shit.
awesome.
Well, you already see my kitchen, so we put some work in. There you go.
Oh, listen,
How about that?
and I love to cook. You know I love to cook, so I might just be like, yo, boom, you and the
already
wife
know.
chill out. Let me do my 1-2 step. That's part of my therapy too.
And then on top of that, guess who's close to us?
Who's that?
The guy that's under you.
Word. Okay. So yeah,
Close to
listen.
us. That's it, man.
We can make it happen, man. Some cigars and stuff, and just chill out, you know, and kick it. That's what's important, man. That's what life is about.
That's right.
That's what life is about. Having good people, man. Good company. You know.
Little hangout session. You know how that works, bro.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know. Well,
Yes,
let's
sir.
say
well, you guys, you brothers.
Definitely. Well, Carlos, you got a word of the night? What you got, my brother?
I want to thank everybody for showing up and supporting us over here. I want to thank Romel for dropping some jewels on us tonight. And everybody be safe, respect, and God bless.
Definitely.
All right. God bless.
Bro, I'll talk to you soon, my brother.
All right. Got you.
Carlos, talk to you later, bro.
You have a good one, my brother. Everybody, have a good night.
Definitely. Have a good night, and we will see you soon. Peace.